So let's get into it. Why you're getting denied, even with good credit. You got your 750. You put together your LLC. Maybe you're doing some deposits into your account. You got all your ducks in a row. Everything's looking good. Everything's lined up, but you keep getting denied. Why? What's going on? So let's talk about it, right? First, I will always want to start off with this. If you're going by your credit score, you got to make sure you're looking at the FICO. We gotta start. Tell everybody, tell your friends, share this out. Hey, if you're talking about your credit score, make sure you're looking at the FICO. No, Leisha, this isn't business credit only. This is funding, period. Right? So if you're a brand new startup, let me back up. When you're a brand new startup, and if you're going for SBA funding, or you're going for zero interest funding, or you're going for a business line of credit, if you don't have any corporate credit set up, you're going to end up having to PG it. Okay. So anytime you're doing a PG or personal guarantee, they're absolutely going to be looking at your personal credit. So now we have those of us that have, you have your 720, your 750. Even recently in one of my mentorship groups, shout out to my mentors, someone was in there saying they actually had an 812 and they cannot get any more funding. Okay. They built up their report, they have the 812 score, but they keep getting denied. So let's talk about why that may happen, right? And this way, you can write out a checklist. I'm going to give y'all about 9 points. All right. 9 is the number of completion in totality. I'm going to give y'all 9 data points that you want to look at to make sure that you check those boxes. You should be good if everything else is looking right. So first, when we're talking about our credit score, we want to make sure we're looking at FICO. So you're looking at your myfico.com or Experian.com or Equifax.com, or you're going directly to transunion.com or MyScoreIQ. I have my clients, when we do initial consultations, I like MyScoreIQ because you get all 3 of your FICO scores. You do not want to go to any lender based off of your Vantage score or your Credit Karma score, right? It's true that they will laugh in your face if you walk in there talking about you got a 750 credit score, and then you show them Credit Karma, because they're gonna be like, well, experience says you have a 620, so we're not too sure about what Credit Karma on right now. So make sure the first thing, check your FICO score. No other score. Go to FICO. MyFICO.com, Experian.com, MyScoreIQ.com. Right? Just save yourself the headache. You do that, great. Check that off. That's one more to put that on the list. Make sure you're doing that. Next thing we want to look at, make sure you don't have any freezes on your credit report. I was just going through a sequence with one of my clients where we're going for a business credit card, and I looked it up. I didn't see anything, but somewhere, somehow, it said, hey, make sure you have your LexisNexis unfrozen and your TransUnion unfrozen. I'm like, huh, okay, cool. So they're doing a soft pull on your TransUnion and LexisNexis. That's Capital on Tap. For those of you that are keeping track, you like the name of banks. Capital on Tap is going to do a soft pull on your TransUnion and your LexisNexis. So so make sure you don't have any freezes. Some banks will tell you to go ahead and unfreeze it so that they can run your credit, whereas other banks will just deny you outright. They won't even give you the opportunity to unfreeze. You'll just get denied because they don't care, right? And they're using a computer system that's, if they can't access the information, is automatic denial. The next thing, once you check off that, to make sure you don't have any freezes, make sure you don't have any fraud alerts on your credit right now. All right. If you have a fraud alert on your credit report, you'll have to remove it before you submit any facts. Minks, what's going on? How's the school coming along and the daycare? We got to catch up. Make sure that you don't have any fraud alerts on any of your reports, not on your TransUnion, on your Experian or your Equifax. I recommend, if you're not sure if you do or not, go directly to the source. Go to transunion.com, go to Experian.com, go to Equifax.com. At the top is going to give you like a summary section. In that summary section, it's going to tell you if you got a fraud alert on your credit report. Remove the fraud alert, and it's super easy to do. You can write and send in a letter to remove the fraud alert. You can call them on the phone and say, hey, I want to remove the fraud alert. You can even send in a fax to tell them, hey, remove this fraud alert. The fraud alert typically may come off in like 1 to 7 days. Every bureau is a little different. You know, they take their times or whatever. Once the fraud alert is removed, boom, you can go for funding. Because what will happen when you have the fraud alert is that it slows down the entire process. You no longer get any kind of instant approvals that we like to see when we're going for funding. What will happen, you submit the application, it'll tell you that they need to verify your identity. You may have to upload your photo ID. Some of these joints, like Care Credit, they'll make you take a whole damn video of yourself saying, this is me applying for the credit. Like, they make you do way too much when you're trying to apply for credit while a fraud alert is still on your joint, right? So just skip all that and just get rid of the fraud alert. So boom, that's number 3. Why are you doing that? So everybody that's just joining in, I'm going through why basically your credit score ain't shit. Like, the banks don't care that you got a 720 because you can still get denied even with good credit. So I'm on the 4th item out of 9. So I'm going to recap for everybody that just came in. When we're talking before you do your funding, you want to make sure that, one, you're actually looking at your FICO score, not Credit Karma. FICO. So go to myfico.com to get your FICO score. Next, you want to make sure that you don't have any freezes on any of your major credit reporting companies, right? So your TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, all of those must be unfrozen, or else your application is denied instantly. They don't care if you have good credit or not if your profile is frozen, because they can't see it. The third thing is you want to make sure your fraud alerts have been removed off of all of your credit reports. Okay, so those are the first 3 things you want to do. The 4th thing you want to do is pull your credit and make sure that you don't have what's called a mixed file. What is that? So that's, in the industry, we call that when basically you get mixed up with someone else. This happens a lot with juniors and seniors. Like my cousin, they would put his father's credit or his accounts on his credit and vice versa. So he would have like collections, charge-offs, repos and shit that really belonged to his dad, but because the people at the credit bureau don't really care, it would show up on his credit. So you want to make sure you don't have that happening. All right. This also is very common when you have a very generic, hold on, let me say that differently. Not generic, common. You have a very common name. And share this out to anybody that's currently going for funding. They have great credit, but they keep running into a brick wall and they may not be really sure on why they're getting denied. Okay. So you may have a common name. So for instance, someone's name is Richard Thomas. That's a super common name. On top of that, Richard sometimes uses his nickname when he fills out his application. He may put Rick Thomas or he may put Dick Thomas. So every time he fills out this application with a different name pops up on his credit report. Now, though that name is super common, so he could be mixed up with other Richards, other Ricks, and other Dicks. Damn, that did not sound good. Pause. Big pause on that. That was crazy. Wow. All right. So anyway, so that can happen where you can get mixed up with other files on your credit report. When a bank is pulling your credit, if they pull the wrong person, they may pull the wrong Richard Thompson, and now the other Richard Thompson has a repo or late payment or collection that has nothing to do with you. But since your file is mixed up, it's showing up as yours. You want to take care of that. Make sure that you're not being mixed up with anyone else. Now, I'm not just going to give y'all the problem. Let's talk about the solution. How can you fix that? Pull your credit report, right? Pull it from annualcreditreport.com or your favorite credit monitoring service that gives you your full report. You're going to look for different versions of your name. You're going to look for addresses that you never lived at, phone numbers you never had, birth dates that's not yours, even social security number and spouses that are not yours, right? That's the number one clear sign. As soon as you see personal information that never belonged to you, immediately you know your file is getting mixed up with someone else's, right? So I actually have a whole video walkthrough on my YouTube page that breaks down exactly how to remove any random names, any addresses, date of births, phone numbers, etc., that don't belong to you. It's just called remove personal how to remove personal information. Is on my YouTube page. You just type that in, it walks you through the whole thing and gives you a letter template that you can use to send into the bureaus, right? Now, here's where we get to the extra sauce, the nitty gritty. Even though you have your 720, you have your 800, it looks amazing. Let's say you've done all of these things. You check to make sure you looked at your FICO, not Vantage or Credit Karma. You made sure nothing was frozen. You made sure you removed all your fraud alerts. You made sure that your file isn't being mixed up with anyone else's. Another issue could simply be that you didn't build your credit profile properly. This is gonna go over a couple people's heads, but that's all right. I'm here with y'all. This is where you would definitely want to share this out with anybody that's having issues with their funding, right? You may have built your credit profile incorrectly. Now, what does this mean? One, it can mean that your profile simply isn't thick enough. We have something, and the banks call it having a thin profile or being credit invisible. What this means is that you simply don't have enough accounts on your credit. I just did a consultation with a family who wants to start a trucking company. Their daughter has a 710 credit score, but she only has 2 accounts on her credit. If you go for funding with only 2 accounts on your credit, even though you got a 709, a 720, whatever, it's not strong enough. That is not strong enough to get the funding that you're looking for. You want 50, 60, 70, 80, 6 figures in funding, you're going to have to build out your credit profile. The more money, the bigger the funding you want to go for, the more built out you want that credit profile. I would say at least 10 accounts. You want 6 figures in funding in one round, definitely want to have at least 10 accounts on your credit report, right? But here's another thing. Not only do you need to have 10 accounts, a lot of those accounts need to be in your name. Gentleman in one of our groups, great dude, he been putting in the work. He like, man, I got the credit builder account, I got the Navy Federal account, I got 2 Navy Federal accounts, I got rent reporters, I got AUs, I got all that, but I can't get approved for nothing. I got an 812, right? The credit profile itself hasn't been fully built out. What you want to do is, one, get up to 10 accounts as quickly as possible. Out of those 10 accounts, I would say at least 6 of them should be with an actual banking institution. At least 6 of them should be with the actual banking institution, right? So that's your credit union, your national bank, your regional bank. Okay. I would say half should be credit cards, 5 credit card accounts. Out of those five, and I'm getting real, like, you got to follow along with me, y'all. Out of those five, two of those accounts, at least two of them, should be $2,500, right? You should have a credit limit of at least 2,500 on two of those accounts. Okay. Now, with the other accounts, you can have AUs on there. But here's the thing, you don't want to have too many AUs. You don't want to have too many AUs because now the banks can bypass an AU. When you are applying, I've seen this. I've seen people with two primary accounts that are like 3 months old, and then they have like 5 or 6 authorized users. The banks will literally look past all of those authorized users and just look at your account. Authorized users go on last. Authorized users do not necessarily help you qualify for high limits. Okay. You're going to want to have primary accounts. Terrence, what's good? What's good? What's happening, Kendra? What's going on, y'all? You're going to want to have primary accounts making up the majority of your credit profile, right? So when you go to the bank, you have those 10 accounts, 6 of them actually belong to you. They're actually in your name, right? Along with that, you want to make sure those accounts are at least 6 months old. At least 6 months old. I would say even push it out to 12 months. Now, some of y'all, you may be like, oh, okay, but I'm trying to get funding right now. I'm trying to make a move right now. In that case, you're going to need a primary trade line that already has age with it. Okay. Comment the word trade line because I actually have a primary trade line available now. It's a 2-year-old, $50,000 primary trade line. It shows up on your personal credit under your name. This is the type of trade line that you need when you're building out your credit to make sure you can qualify for bigger limits and more substantial limits when you go for funding. AUs are great. AUs are great for just adding on age, but the AU by itself doesn't help you qualify for funding. You're going to need a primary account. Okay. I see it over and over and over again. You got a 725. We look at your credit report. You got 4 primary accounts that are like 3 months old. And then you got 3 AUs that are like 20 years old. The banks aren't even paying attention to the AU when it's time to approve you, right? So we want to have those primaries. Next is with the AUs, okay? Specifically with the AUs, you want to make sure that, of course, they're adding age. You want them to be at least 5 years. Okay. With the primaries, you don't want a lot of credit builder accounts. So, like Rent Reporters, Rental Karma, those are cool, but those are not the accounts that the banks are going to be taking into consideration when it's time for funding, especially with the backdating and everything. Backdating is cool. That helps you with personal credit cards on the personal side. Okay. That's going to help you on the personal credit card, the personal side. But at one point, once you get those, that's like the foundation. You're going to have to step into actual credit cards that are in your name. So that's going to be Discover, Capital One, Chase even has an entry level personal credit card. You want to hold on to these, I would say indefinitely, right? At least 6 to 12 months. Throw on a 2-year-old primary trade line, you'll be good, right? That's a more properly built out credit profile. The other thing is so we looked at those, right? A recap real quick, everybody. This is when you're going for funding, you have a great credit score, but you still keep getting denied, right? So there's a couple of things you definitely want to make sure of when you're going for funding and you are currently running into like a brick wall, even though you got a strong credit score. And I'll run through the list real quick all over again. First, make sure you're looking at your FICO score, right? We're not looking at Credit Karma. We're looking at FICO and FICO only. So you can go to myfico.com, you can go to Experian.com, you can go to myfreescore.com, You can go to myscoreiq.com, like take your pick, as long as it says the score is coming from FICO. Next, you want to make sure that you have removed all credit freezes from all of your credit reports. Next thing is you want to remove all fraud alerts from all of your credit reports. Right? Number 4, check to see if your file, if your credit is getting mixed up with other people's credit with a similar name. If you see names, addresses, socials, etc., that you've never been associated with, that probably means you're being mixed up with someone else. You're going to want to clean that up. I have a video on my YouTube channel that walks you through the whole process of how to clean up your mixed files. Number 5 is your profile. Even though you got a high score, it may be built incorrectly. It may not be built specifically for funding. All right. So what does that mean? It may mean you don't have enough accounts. You may only have 3 accounts or 2 accounts, but you have a high credit score. When in reality, you're going to need to have at least, I would say, 5 to 10 accounts reporting. You may have number 6, you have too many authorized users. You're going to want to have more primary accounts than authorized user accounts. 7, well, not 7, but the next part of that is the primary accounts you have need to be older than 6 months. I would say give it 6 to 12 months. Now, if you don't have the time to wait for that, you're going to want to get primary accounts that are already aged. I have primaries that are 2 years old, $50,000 that's available. You can just DM me about it and just say trade line in that DM or in that message, right? And I'll give you the information on how you can get a 2-year-old primary trade line added to your credit. And so that's the recap, right? Now, the next reason you may be getting denied, even though you have a 720 or better or 700 or better, right? Even at 800, you can have an 800 credit score with everything else we just outlined and still get denied because of this one thing. You may have too many hard inquiries. Once you have like 5 or more hard inquiries, you're getting into that auto denial territory. Like, the banks don't care how good your credit score is. If you have too many hard inquiries, they're just going to deny you because that's considered credit seeking behavior, right? The banks don't like credit seeking behavior. They don't want to see you jumping from bank to bank to bank. That's just like, for my fellas and some of my ladies, whoever, non-gender specific, whatever. It's just like you go to the bar, right? Or you out and about. Some people don't like to see you hopping from person to person to person, buying any and everybody a drink, right? Flirting with multiple people, etc. The banks are the same way. They don't like to see that. Once you have about 4 more inquiries on your credit, they immediately look at that as a red flag. And it doesn't matter how beautiful your profile is, it doesn't matter how great your credit score is, they are denying you because of credit seeking behavior. So make sure you wipe off the inquiries and you keep the inquiries below 4, right? Actually, if you can wipe off all your inquiries, then wipe all of them off, right? If you need help with that, I do offer that. We can talk about how to remove inquiries. Just DM me inquiries. I also have 2 videos actually, on how to remove hard inquiries on my YouTube channel. You can look at that for the free. All right, just type in, just go to my YouTube, which is The Credit Protector, and type in inquiries. You'll see the 2 videos where I go over how to do that step by step. Okay. Now the last one, this one is a bit more complex. This is the one where we're going to be talking about some secret credit bureaus that a lot of people aren't familiar with, where you just may be flagged in somebody's system, right? It happens. Some years ago, you was in high school, maybe you overdrafted a bank account, right? You overdrafted a bank account, you never paid them, so then they flagged you internally. Maybe You had too much fun with the chase glitch, whatever. I'm not here to judge. I don't know how it works, right? But something happened somewhere and now you're flagged. Okay. You filed bankruptcy with some banks 20 years ago. And then those banks got merged with another bank, but you're still flagged in their system, right? That is a thing that 100% happens, right? Um, we went to Truist. She couldn't even open up a checking account because she had ran off on BB&T like 10 years ago and totally forgot about it. BB&T and SunTrust merged together and they're now Truist. So all of those people that had a negative relationship with BB&T and SunTrust can't do anything with Truist. Now, what's the workaround for that? The workaround for that is just go to another bank. We got 4,000 different banks in the country. If one or two, if 10 don't accept you, you still got over 3,990 more to go through to get somebody to fund you, right? So you may be flagged in the system. Now, here are a couple of places that you can look to make sure to see that you're good, right? And you're not actually flagged, or you don't have too many hard inquiries, or you're not in their on their shit list. Okay. First up is LexisNexis. LexisNexis has everything on you. Like, there's not too much they don't have. You want to check and look at your LexisNexis consumer report. You go to their website, or you can Google LexisNexis consumer report. I have a video on that too, on how to pull that up and get it from them, right? Check that out. If you're in LexisNexis, get them to delete that shit. You may be trapped in check systems, right? Check systems. If you're in check systems, that can keep you from opening up a bank account. And if you can't open up a bank account with certain banks, they're also not going to lend to you. You may be um you may be an early warning system, right? People aren't familiar with EWS, but EWS is essentially another check systems. But this one is less talked about, just because is not as well known and people don't know how to get out of early warning systems, right? So I actually helped the client get out of early warning systems and out of check systems so that he can go get into Navy Federal, because Navy Federal will run your check systems, right? And helped him get out of that. And now he's in there like swimwear, pledge loan, lines of credit, credit cards. He up right now. Okay. So if you need help getting out of check systems or early warning systems, just send me a message saying EWS and we could chop it up about that. Okay. Some other smaller credit bureaus that you want to take a look at. You want to look at Micro Built. Micro Built, which is BILT. Check them out. See if you're in there, what information they have on you. You want to clean that up. CoreLogic, you want to clean that up. You don't have to worry about ARS anymore, because ARS is no longer reporting data to any third parties. All right, I'm going to say that again. We no longer have to worry about ARS because they're no longer reporting to any third party. So they're not even on the list of credit bureaus to look at anymore. All right. Who else y'all need to know about? Those are the major ones off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember real quick. Let's see. Early warnings, check systems, LexisNexis, CoreLogic, definitely want to make sure right? So check those out. Those are going to be like the main ones that could potentially keep you from getting funding, even with everything else is good. If you went through all of those steps, I think that was not, yeah, that should have been 9 steps. You went through all 9 of those steps. By the time you correct that, even down to number 9, you should be good. If you go through all 9 of those and you're still not good, definitely we need to have a conversation. Hit me up so we can figure out what may be going on. We can always have like an hour-long consultation. I'll send you the link so we can figure out what's keeping you from getting from the bag. All right. So listen, y'all, pleasure as always. I'm gonna hop off this thing. Definitely, like I said, if you're looking for primary trade lines so that you can actually qualify for higher credit limits in real funding, then go ahead, hit me up, drop the word trade line. We'll tap in. I'll share the information with you so you can get a $50,000 primary trade line added to your personal credit. It'll stay on there for 7 full years with the value, the credit limit on it is $50,000. All right. So I'll holler at everyone later. Y'all have a great evening. Have a great one, Leisha. And I'll talk to y'all soon. All right. Peace.